guys, so I am just, sorry, I had to scoot up here. I am just going to talk a little bit about building your brush collection. You know, what brushes do I need? What do I really don't need? I'm going to start with eye brushes and I'm going to move on to face. And you can stay tuned after I talk a little bit about these brushes so you can kind of see how I use them and incorporate them. First brush I want to talk about, I'll talk about this one. This is the Morphe R37 brush, and this is my first brush that I use when I go into any eye look that I do. This is my transition, my blending brush that I put in my upper crease area. Sometimes when I'm in a hurry, I'll just use this brush and dust bronze. I was using the a different Morphe brush for the past year and a half, and that one's still good too, but I found this one. And I absolutely love it. It fits perfect right here, and I just swipe it back and forth in windshield wiper motions and little circles. So yeah, that is the first brush that I highly recommend anybody getting when they're starting to build their brush collection and stuff. Even if you don't want to do a lot of these fancy smoky eye looks and you don't have time to do it, this is just a good brush. Second brush I want to talk about, again, it's sturdy. This is the Morphe M433. And this is what I put directly in my crease to outer crease to kind of like give it a little bit more depth, to pack on those second, third shadows that kind of make the eye look a little darker right in here. Holding it up to this next brush, you can kind of see the difference. This one is obviously more longer, more tapered, and this one's kind of just a little bit more fluffy. This blends out all those harsh lines. Both of these brushes do that, but this one, after I go in, I mean, you can just really tell that you can't see the line of each and every shadow that you pack on. The second brush that I recommend everybody picking up, if they had to just get 2 eye brushes, these are the 2 that will make a huge difference when putting on your shadows. Now we're moving on to the pencil brush. If you've watched my last videos, you see where I use this to kind of darken the very outer corner. Like if I'm going to use a dark black or a dark brown, I don't want to use a fat, huge brush like our crease brush, because crease brush, you kind of work in the crease. This is just basically to kind of pack on those darker shades right in this outer corner of your eye. This is the M431. This is a pencil brush. And comparing it to that crease brush, I'll just show you, you know, right there, you can kind of see the difference. Again, I just pack my darker shades right here on the outer crease, and I also use this underneath my lash line to smoke it out with my shadows that I used up in my on my lid here. That is the third brush. Moving on to the fourth brush. I know you're probably thinking like, how many brushes are you going to talk about? I'm not going to talk about every single brush that I own because I don't feel like everybody needs to have 20, 30 brushes. Do not need to have that. Personally, I like to have a lot of brushes just because I do makeup on, you know, my clients. I don't like just using one set of brushes on myself and my clients, especially when I'm doing like a big bridal party. I need several sets of brushes for each girl. So moving on, this is my lid brush. This is what I put all my eyelid colors on, my shimmers, even, you know, your mattes right here. Like I've got this brown chocolatey gold here on my lid, and I pack those colors on with this brush right here. And this is not a Morphe brush, but I'm sure Morphe has something like this. I just haven't got it yet. I got this from MAC, and I've had this for probably maybe 2.5 years now. And it does an amazing, amazing job of packing those shadows in. So I would recommend picking up a brush that looks kind of like this. I don't know if you can see it. Just to pack on those lid shades. That is 4 brushes that I highly recommend if you're wanting to start doing more eye looks. If you get a good set of brushes, you can make any drugstore makeup shadows look really good. Moving on to, this is what I kind of use to highlight my brow bone right here. I don't know if you can kind of tell right there. Sorry, they need to be waxed a little bit, but I don't need a huge brush for that. And you could probably even use your lid brush that you pick up for this, but this is the brush that I use, and I've used it for a long time and it just works. This is the M408, and it looks like that. And like I said, I just pick up my shimmer or whatever shade I want to kind of highlight my brow bone with, and I just kind of like tap it on just like that. And it makes a huge difference. I don't like to leave that blank. I like to put something there. You probably could find something like this from the Real Technique line that they sell at Ulta or Walmart, or e.l.f. probably has a brush like this. But if you just want to go to Morphe and get these brushes and order them, this is the Morphe 408. Next brush I'm going to talk about, oh, this is my, this is a very important brush, that my flat definer brush from Morphe. It's the M432, and it looks like that. This is what I use versus an eyeliner. Sometimes I will still use an eyeliner, like a black pencil or something, to darken my waterline, which is, you know, that thing right there. A lot of people are like, what's a waterline? I'm like, it's just when you pull your eyelid down and it's, you know, that space right there that people can darken. I use this to give the appearance of eyeliner without it looking harsh. Like I said, I use my pencil brush to first put shadows on, and then I go in and put my darker color. If I want to use a black, I can use a black without using a pencil. And I'll take it and I'll just kind of, like you'll see in the video, I just kind of tap it and pack it on and smooth it out like eyeliner. So yeah, it just kind of gives it appearance of like you do have some liner on without it looking harsh, because a lot of people have issues with your eyeliner running or smudging throughout the day, and I'm not a fan of just that harsh, thick black line of liner. I would much rather shadow it and it look more, what term am I trying to say? Anyway, look, it just looks better to me. Not saying if you do that, you do it wrong, but this is just my preference. This brush is like a cheap one from Walmart, I think. This is just like a very tapered, almost kind of like a pencil brush. The bristles are not obviously as good as my Morphe pencil brush, but this does the job for what I need it. This is what I always highlight my inner corners with. Like I tapped on that frosty shade right there. I don't know if you can kind of see it in there, and just kind of press it in there. That's all I use this brush for. So this is not something that you probably have to go buy, but if you see a small kind of tapered brush like this, anywhere that's cheap, get it, and it does a really good job of just doing that inner corner highlight. So that's that. Okay, so I think that's all my staple eye brushes that I want to share with y'all. Like I said, you don't have to go and buy all of these at once. Start building your collection. Start out with 1, 2, and just work your way up. Like if you're gonna start out buying brushes, absolutely, like top 2 most important, change your eye game, would be the first 2 brushes that I talked about, which is the blending brush and the crease brush. And I'll list everything down below with prices so you can get an idea. So there's all the brushes that we just talked about for eyes. I know it looks like a lot, guys, but when you do eye looks, like say the one I have on today that you'll watch in a little bit, you can't just use 1 or 2 brushes to achieve it. I wish you could. I've seen some of the people saying, oh, you just need one brush. And no, you need more than 1 brush to achieve eye looks like this. Now, if you're gonna go for something simple, blending brush, lid brush, you're good. That's 2 brushes. But if you want to do dramatic, multi-dimensional eye looks, you need to pick up a few more. Moving on to face. Absolutely number 1 thing I have to have, I recommend everybody picking up, is a beauty sponge, beauty blender, whatever you want to call it. I've got many different brands of these. I started out with the more expensive one that you get at Sephora. It's the actual beauty blender, and it's like $20. That one's really good if you want to just pick that up, but there's other brands that have come out with them that are just as good. So I know the Real Techniques one is really good. I think it's like $6. It's an orange sponge. You'll see in videos, I use different ones, just whatever's clean that I've got sitting right there. Real Techniques, this is a Morphe one. I got off the Morphe website. If you're ordering brushes, pick you one up of these. I think this is $5 or $6. It's when you use these, biggest tip I can give you, you have to wet your sponge. You can't just like hold it under there for a second or 2 and pull it out. You need to sit there and like squeeze it underneath the water for a good 20 seconds, and it'll kind of expand and get bigger. And when you use a beauty blender with your foundations or concealers, it helps kind of pick up a little bit of the product and not cake it on like if you were just using a foundation brush. I mean, obviously the foundation does get into your brush a little bit here, but this just blends it out and makes it look more flawless, more smooth, more airbrushed. I hardly ever use brushes on any of my, or foundation brushes on any of my clients to put that on. I always use a beauty blender to blend that out. And I also use this, as you'll see in my videos, for my concealer to blend that out. I don't use a brush because I feel like a brush is just gonna wipe that away, and I need to like push it into the skin and blend it out that way. It just has a much better appearance. It gives you more coverage, especially if you need it like I do. Beauty sponge, pick you one up. They are amazing. Foundation brush, as you've seen, if you watch my 5-minute challenge, I do use this. It is a good brush. Morphe 439. I didn't use this today, but if you have a little extra money to spend and you don't always have a whole lot of time to blend out your foundation in the morning, like this does take a little bit to kind of pounce it into your skin and make sure it's all smooth. This, I just kind of buff and swipe and go. If you see my 5-minute challenge, you'll kind of see it. This brush is good for that. But again, I don't use this like I do my beauty sponge. So if you want to pick this up, it's the M439. It's a good brush, but I just prefer my beauty blender over it. Okay, what is next on the brush list? Next brush I want to talk about is my newest favorite brush. I just picked it up. It's the Morphe R2, and I use this for bronzer, and oh my gosh. I have a MAC one that I've used the last year and a half, and it was like a $30, $40 bronzing brush, and like I said, it was expensive. I got this on Morphe, and I believe this was like $13, $14. I'll list the price below, but I love this brush so much better. You can kind of see how it's shaped there. I mean, it's perfect just for putting that bronzer right here, dusting it down on your neck a little bit and up on your forehead. And it's a good dupe for some of the very expensive full bronzing brushes, because these are bigger brushes, so they do tend to be pricier. So if you have the extra money to spend and you're looking for a good bronzer brush, I highly recommend this one. This is from their Rose Gold collection. Next brush, love, love, love. You've seen me use this, I think, in every single video that I've done. This is my blush brush. And if you're not a fan of blush, you can skip this. And this is the Morphe E4. It's like this. And this is the Elite Collection brush. If you go to Morphe, you can just type in these actual brush numbers and it'll pull right up, or you can look brush by the lines, because they have different brand. They have like an Elite Collection, a Metal Collection, a Rose Gold Collection, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, but I find it's perfect for my blush. It fits right here on the apple of my cheeks, and it's not big. I don't want a big blush brush that's just gonna pack a huge amount on or smear it all the way too far up or down. Next brush I want to talk about is my highlighting brush. Now, obviously, I didn't use this brush in this tutorial, but I do use this a lot, so I wanted to include it. If you do get on the ColourPop website, their highlighters are like a creamy formula, so you can just put it on your finger and just tap it. So that's really easy. That'll save you time from using a brush. But some of the powder highlighters, you need a brush to put them on. And some people use a fan brush, and I bought this when I got all these other new brushes, and I do not like this. Do not like this at all. Some people absolutely love fan brushes. I'm just not a fan of it. It didn't put it on as good as this one. This is the M510, the M510. And it looks like this. It's dip it into my highlighter, set it down, and it just dust it right over the tops of my cheeks like that. And it does an amazing job of putting that on. One last brush. That's it. One more brush. This is actually a brush from e.l.f. I got this off of elf.com, but I use this to kind of just wipe my powders on. If I need to dust some of my baking off, my baking powder, I use this brush. I feel like everybody kind of needs a good powder dusting brush, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it because I don't put a lot of powder foundations on myself. This brush, and it works amazing, and it's really nice and full. You can see, look at all that. It's super soft. I cannot believe this came from e.l.f. e.l.f. is an amazing brand. They've got good brushes, good makeup. So yeah, check this out. It is a good powder brush. It is all the brushes I'm going to discuss today. Obviously, I have more. I use more sometimes in different videos depending on the look that I'm going for. But I'm trying to get used to looking at the camera right there. But I keep looking at my face. You don't have to go out and buy all of these at one time. Just here's my recommendations. Here's what's worked for me, what I use on my own clients. Building your brush collection. Obviously, when I first started doing makeup on myself, and I didn't go out and buy 20 brushes. Like I said, I just slowly built them up. Yes, you have to go online for Morphe and some of these other companies, but it's worth it. They ship quick. So a lot of times you can get free shipping. This is a lot of bang for your buck going to a company like Morphe and getting your brushes. Let me know if y'all have any questions about my brushes that I didn't talk about that you think you may need, and I'd be happy to help. You know, that's why I have this beauty page, just so I can help y'all and give tips and go waste a lot of money on stuff that you really don't need, like I did. When I first started out with my makeup journey, as you would call it, I bought so much unnecessary stuff that never worked, that, you know, I would just go into Ulta or Sephora and they'd be like, oh, you need this. Oh, you need this. I didn't need that. So I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. Have a great week. Bye, guys.